This country is so broken because white people came from Europe where they had no community whatsoever. They were very individualistic. And they came to America for more land and opportunity and stole all the culture from black people because they were jealous of their community. They stole everything from hair to fashion to inventions, most inventions, music, everything, given no credit. That makes us culture vultures. I'm so disappointed in my ancestors. It is so sinister to walk around these neighborhoods and these cities knowing that we destiny swapped with the black community. It's really disgusting. Independence Day is the day of oppression, literally. It's when the country went to hell. So we commercialized everything the black people invented and destroyed their roots. And again, I am just so disappointed. It's really time to face the fact that white people are the real minority. We could have came up with our own culture, but we didn't. We just stole it all and destroyed it. So yeah, that's why the country is so broken.
White people decided to roam this earth, pillaging, plundering, raping, human trafficking, sucking the resources dry, and then pointing at everyone else and calling them uncivilized. See, they can't even survive on their own lands after we've pillaged it and plundered it and raped them and human trafficked them. How dare they bleed out after we've slit their wrists? Fucking uncivilized. That's how white people sound. That's how y'all sound. Fucking ridiculous.
And I just really don't understand it because nobody minds their business more than black people. Why do we make this face? Why do white people make this face? Why do we do that? But my point is, for them to be minding their business the way that they do, but still be living rent-free in the Klan members' minds is insane. Like, black people ain't thinking about you. They're not thinking about you. Leave them alone.
You wanna know why the world is the way it is today? Because white people ruined everything. Literally everything. To have no backbone. They just ruin everything. They ruin certain states. They ruin Florida because of greed, and for pretty much colonized it fully. And they're trying to get rid of the Cubans, the African Americans. They ruin everything. They ruin how food is. They ruined seasoning. They ruin everything. You wanna know why you can't have fun these days? Because of white people. Because if you're too loud, you got a white person complain about it. If you are dancing in the street, you got a white person calling the cops on you. You know, white people has ruined the fun. They ruined social media. They ruined the concept of love, because they're the ones that created transactional love bullshit. White people has ruined everything. The white women, the white men, they're just useless white people. Yes, I'm white, and I know I'm part of the problem because I'm white. You make us white people with a soul who have a black soul in us look bad because you have ruined everything. It's time for white people to go extinct. For real, like, they have to go extinct or something. There needs to be a meteor coming from the sky and just take out all white people. Even myself, take us all out. We need to go. White people has ruined everything. You ruin hobbies because you use it as a currency. Everything needs to be a currency. You can't even have fun because everything needs to be a fucking currency. You ruin everything, white people. You ruined it all. Good job.
The reason that COVID killed so many people in the US is because white people are colonizers. It's literally like the colonizer gene coming through, and as a white person I can say this pretty confidently. It's the don't tread on me, let me do what I want mindset. And even when that killed Meemaw and Peepaw and killed thousands of grandparents across the country, white people were literally bringing the virus home and killing their relatives. A lot of the time they still didn't care, and to this day they will say, oh yeah, like it was a government hoax, you know, it was just their time to pass, and still in denial of science. And it's literally the exact same thing that happened, you know, 200, 300, 400 years ago when white people were plundering different countries and bringing diseases, or specifically when white people were, you know, bringing smallpox blankets essentially and handing them out and killing a vast portion of the native population in America. Not wearing a mask and not wanting to protect your community is a very white behavior, and not being sanitary is a very white behavior. Look at Europe. I mean, these motherfuckers didn't have plumbing for a really long time. They would just dump their buckets from the bathroom into the street. So wear a mask, bye!
Today, I was at a gas station on my way home from vacation. My family went into the gas station and got some snacks, and I was pumping the gas. And then when they came back, I went to go use the restroom. And I went to open the door, it was locked. And I didn't realize it at the time, but there was a sign that says out of order. And the guy from the counter comes from behind. He goes, oh, you need to use the bathroom? I'm like, yeah, sorry, I just realized it was out of order. I'm sorry. He's like, oh, no. I got a key. You can go in there. So he opens the door, you know, do my thing. And I go back in the car. And my wife's like, why did it take you so long? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, what were you doing in there for so long? I'm like, I went to the restroom. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I went to the bathroom. He's like, well, I told you I was going to the bathroom. She's like, he let you in the bathroom? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you got to be kidding me, right? He goes, no. And her and my kids are like, he just told a Hispanic man that it was out of order and he couldn't use it, that he had to go across the street to McDonald's and use the bathroom. Just let that sink in. That's privilege. And I shouldn't have that. I should not be treated any differently. In the year 2026, while I'm on vacation, I was allowed to use the bathroom 3 to 4 minutes before a Hispanic man was told to go across the street to McDonald's. That's why America isn't a great country. That's not an isolated incident. See, when a black person has this conversation, people roll their eyes and they go, oh no, not that again. I interviewed one of my friends, Dr. Akila Kadeh, a couple months ago. And she said, Paul, I can say what you're saying until I'm blue in the face. And people aren't going to listen to me. But you're a white man. What you say has more meaning and it comes across differently because of what you look like. People aren't used to a white man saying what you're saying. And she's right. And that's the question I have. Why aren't more of you doing that? And the answer is because too many of you don't want to be uncomfortable. You're worried about pissing somebody off. What if you looked black or Latino? How would you feel about that if you were treated that way? Because that's what our black brothers and sisters and immigrant families are going through right now. They're in concentration camps. Over 50 have died in the last 2 years. They're eating moldy bread. Many women have lost their pregnancies in there. We have nuns and off-duty officers being racially profiled by ICE agents right now. We have a convicted felon, adjudicated rapist, a man who is defending child molesters as president because his country couldn't stomach a black woman being president. Taking down the history of slavery, saying you want people here legally and now you want to overturn birthright citizenship. It's almost like it wasn't about the economy, because it was never about the economy. This is why I do this, because I have to do this. This is why I'm not running for Congress or president yet. Because the problem isn't Democrat or Republican. It has nothing to do with policy. We're here because this country refuses to admit why we're here, and it is white supremacy. Part of this country is terrified of being a white minority. And they will tell people they can't use the bathroom. They will vote for the white man who is the most morally repugnant piece of shit on planet Earth. because we as a society refuse to have this conversation. And Jon Stewart said in as much last week on his show that this country refuses to have this conversation. But I'll be damned if I'm not going to do everything I can to tear it down and call it out, because it's baloney. It is absolute malarkey. It is bullshit that we're still here as a country. It has to be people like me. And I'm not going to apologize for making the same kind of content, because this is why we're here. The Democrats winning the midterms isn't going to fix this. It's not going to fix what happened in that bathroom. What's going to fix that problem is every single person that looks like me, that has privilege, and you do based on what you look like, having those conversations with your friends and family and saying, you know what, it's more important that I stand up and change this country for the better. You want to make this country great? Have those conversations. And you know what? Sometimes it's not going to work out good. Sometimes they're going to stop talking to you or not be your friend. But ask yourself this question. Do you really want to be friends with somebody that supports a rapist president, who's a racist, who's a white supremacist? Are those the people you're worried about upsetting? Because if it is, the problem's not them, it's you. It's the person looking back in the mirror. Martin Luther King said that a leader is not a searcher of consensus, they're a molder of consensus. We do not have enough leaders in our country right now that tell us what we need to hear. They tell us what we want to hear because they want your money. They want you to vote for them. That's not what I do here. That's not why I started this. I do it because I don't give a damn. I'm just a regular person like you that gives a shit, that wants to make this country a better place for my kids and for your kids. Even for MAGA's kids, because it's not their fault that their parents are pieces of shit racists. And what's interesting is I grew up in a racist home with my dad, who said the N-word almost daily, and COON, and talked about black people all the time in a derogatory term. But you know what I did? I chose not to be a piece of shit like him. And if I can use that and make this a better place and use those stories to change at least a couple minds, then it's worth doing what I'm doing. I just got back from vacation today. But you know what? People that don't look like me don't have the luxury of waiting until tomorrow or the next day or the next day. This is a part of who they are. It's their parents' lives, their grandparents' lives. And for people that keep saying, well, that was back in the day, you know what though? And as a person that does genealogy, some of those people were in somebody's will as a piece of property. They would say, this 12-year-old Negro girl goes to my 8-year-old nephew. This is how they were. Or they were put in a tree. Or they were murdered in Black Wall Street. Or lynched. This is their family history. And that history doesn't go away just because you get farther from it. When are you going to wake up, America? When are you going to start being uncomfortable for somebody else? That's the question. Because what happened to that gentleman today didn't affect me at all. But what it did is it pissed me off. We should not be in a society where a person based on the color of their skin cannot use the bathroom. That is disgusting.